Hey guys, so I thought I would do something a little bit different today and do a non-makeup video. For those of you that like to read, I thought I would talk about what I've been reading over the course of the last, couple of months maybe, and show you the books that I've been reading and also give you an update on how my diet is progressing. So before I get into that though, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention that I have on yet another one of the Maybelline Python lip kits. This one is in Passionate. I just have it on my lips today. I didn't do the eyes and lips. On my eyes, I have the Maybelline City Mini palette in Matte About Town. So those are the two key products that I have on. Everything that's on my face will be listed in the description box, as always, if you're curious. Okay, let's talk about books. If you didn't know this about me, I used to work for Borders Bookstore, and of course, there is no more Borders Bookstore, but always been a big reader. I can remember when I was a little girl, my mother would bring me to the supermarket with her every week, and she would buy me one of those little golden books that they used to sell. I don't think they have those anymore. But she would give me one every week, and that would keep me busy. I'd be reading my book while she'd be doing her food shopping. Then I wouldn't be pointing to the cookies and stuff and asking for things if I had my little book with me. And they were only like, I don't know, 25 cents or something like that. So it didn't break the bank for her to get me those books. But I always can remember enjoying reading. So anyways, when the Harry Potter books came out, I read most of them, but I bought all of them. And for whatever reason, never finished the series. So I thought it was high time that I did that all these years later. We're coming up on the 20th anniversary of the Harry Potter book series. So what I thought I would do is go back and start from the beginning. So that's what I did. My first Harry Potter book was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in paperback. And so I started with that and reread that. Then, of course, moved on to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and reread that. And then moved on to Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And then went to the Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I was working at Borders the night this was released. We had one of those midnight parties where the book goes on sale at midnight. The store stays open specifically to sell the book. I'm sure it was a lot of fun for the people that were the purchasers, the customers. But for the people who worked there, it was not fun at all. There must have been thousands of people in the store, and I'm sure that fire code regulations must have been broken. But wow, yeah, I remember that very, very well, even though it was a long time ago. And then Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I think this was the last one I think I had read. So I moved on from this point and started reading the ones that I hadn't gotten to yet. So Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was the first one that I read that was not a reread. And then Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And then Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Now, at the time that I made the decision to do this, reread the other books and then read the ones that I hadn't gotten to yet, I also bought all the Harry Potter DVDs. And what I did was, as soon as I would finish one of the books, I would watch the movie with my husband. My husband's not into reading, so he just watched the movies with me. He didn't read the books. But it was so much fun doing it that way. And if you're a Harry Potter fan and you do decide at some point to go back and reread the books, I would highly recommend doing it that way. It was really a blast. Then from there, I went to the Harry Potter, A Journey Through a History of Magic. When I bought this book, I wasn't sure if I was wasting my money or not because I just didn't know. After reading the series, I thought, oh, it's not going to be the same. It's not a story. And I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing by purchasing this. I did. I really enjoyed this book. It was an odd mixture of historical references, just magical references in general, bits and information about the development of the books from the author's viewpoint. This was sort of a representation of a Harry Potter exhibit that they had done at the British Library in the UK. And it was a mixture of that and other things. It was very good, and I definitely would say it was worth the money. And every page is something different, so you don't have to read it start to finish. You can just thumb through it or just read the things that interest you the most and then go back and read the other things later. You can kind of skip around. It was definitely worth it. And then this I took out from the library the other day, The Tales of Beetle the Bard. And this is like a story within a story. And this book is featured within the Harry Potter series. It's referenced multiple times. I didn't think I would probably read this more than once, so I just decided to get it from the library and read it that way. But it's a very easy read, and they have short children's stories, but sort of the type of stories like Grimm's fairy tale type stories, except from a magical person's perspective. And then they have commentary by Albus Dumbledore, which, if you know Harry Potter, you know who that is. And then J.K. Rowling, the author, makes footnotes about Albus Dumbledore's commentary. I'm not making it sound interesting, but it was good, and I really enjoyed this, and I'm glad that I read it. Okay, so that's what I've been reading for the last couple of months. And, you know, some of those Harry Potter books are very large, so they take some time to get through. Some of them are like 1,000 pages long. So I read those, and then the next book I'm going to show you references how am I doing on my diet. You might recall that I mentioned at the beginning of the year that I wanted to lose some weight, and I have lost 12.5 pounds up to this point since the beginning of the year. I was having an easy time of it in the beginning because whenever you start a diet, you always lose a lot of weight right off the bat and quickly if you're following the diet. And then I sort of fell off the wagon a bit, and we went and had some buffets, and I don't know, I just lost my mind there for a minute, and I was eating pretty much anything I wanted to. But that was only like a couple of individual days that I did that, and then I would go right back on the diet the very next day. And then I cheated a couple other times too, but for the most part I did stick to the diet. I was on a ketogenic diet. I think most of you probably know what that is. It's a very popular type of diet that's been popular for at least a couple of years now, maybe longer. And so I was doing that, but a keto diet is basically a low-carb, high-fat diet. And I had done similar diets in the past. I had done Atkins. And with Atkins, you weren't restricted on quantities. You could pretty much eat however much you wanted to or needed to, as to not be like starving to death and feeling like you were going to pass out or anything like that. So I just did that the same way, but it didn't work out that way for me. So that's why here we are in April and I'm still on a diet, because the weight came off very slowly after the initial period. So I thought, something's wrong here. Something is very wrong. I should have reached my goal a long time ago. And by the way, I'm only 1 pound away from my goal as I'm saying this. So I finally figured out what it was. It was the quantity. You can't, on the keto diet, it's not like Atkins. You can't just eat however much you want. It just doesn't work that way, I guess, or at least it didn't for me. It might also be that I'm an older person. When you get older, your metabolism slows way down and it makes it harder to lose weight. I'm 58 years old, in case you didn't know. So yeah, it's a lot harder for me to lose weight. And I think it was also the quantity thing, is I was just eating too much. So as soon as I cut back to normal portions, then I started to lose weight like anybody else would. Just a little bit slower than the average person though, because of my age, I think. So I'm 1 pound away from my goal, and now that I'm at this stage, I realize that I think I want to change my goal weight and just lose a few more pounds. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now in terms of like how all my clothes fit and how my body looks and that type of thing, but I think I just want to go maybe 4 pounds more than what I had originally planned on. So if that's the case and I'm going to change my goal weight, I need to lose 5 more pounds, which is not a big deal. Now that I realize that I can't go hog wild with just eating however much food I want. But I've been on the keto diet for a while, and I thought in order to sort of revitalize things and make it more interesting, because once you get bored, you have a tendency to cheat. So now I'm going to switch from the keto diet to something that is very similar and has been around for, I think, at least a couple of years. And that is the Whole30 diet. I took this by Melissa Hartwig and Dallas Hartwig. I took this book out from the library at the same time that I took out Beetle the Bard. I didn't buy it because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, so I figured I would take the book out from the library, check it out, see what I thought, and I love this book. And from what I can tell, the only difference between a keto diet and the Whole30 diet is the Whole30 diet does not let you have dairy. And that's kind of a big deal for me because I love dairy. But at the same time, I also know that dairy is really not that good for you, aside from the fact that you get calcium from it. That aspect of it is good, but other than that, it's not really that good for you. And also, probably the most important thing that I learned from reading this book is that when you eat dairy or have dairy in your diet, like cream in your coffee or cheese on your omelets or whatever, it aggravates seasonal allergies. I am someone who has always had trouble with this change of the seasons and having my allergies come out really strong, and sometimes I would get headaches and dizziness and have more cold type symptoms when the seasons would change. And I didn't even realize that dairy would aggravate seasonal allergies. So I've made the decision that I'm going to try to give up dairy, and I've actually been kind of easing myself into it. I've already stopped using cream in my coffee. And this whole past week I've been using almond milk. Haven't really been enjoying that at all, so I'm not going to be purchasing any more of that. So this coming week, or whenever I finish my container of almond milk that I have, I'm going to try something else, and if that doesn't work out, I'll try something else. I just don't think I can drink my coffee black, because when I started the keto diet, I had to give up sugar. And so I wasn't putting any sugar in my coffee. That was a big deal already. So now to go from no sugar in my coffee and no cream, I just don't think I can do it, because the only reason why I was able to stop putting sugar in my coffee is because I was able to put cream in instead. As a matter of fact, I was putting like a little bit more cream to try to cut the bitterness of the coffee. So Now I'm just trying to find a substitute for the cream, something that's not chemicals, something that is not artificial sweeteners. I am the type of person that gets side effects from artificial sweeteners. I can't do any of them, even stevia, which is something that's made from a plant, which is fairly natural. I can't even do that. And also on the Whole30 diet, you're not supposed to use sweeteners anyway, because when I did put sweetener in my coffee before I started my diet, I used honey. And so I can't do that either. So I'm going to try, when the almond milk is gone, I'm going to try coconut milk. And then if that doesn't work, I'm open for suggestions. I know that if you get good coffee that is not bitter, that makes a difference. Like what roast you use, what blend you use, what brand you use, that type of thing. So I'll have to take that into consideration too. So anyways, this Whole30 book, I've been kind of jumping around. This isn't the kind of thing that you would necessarily read cover to cover. So it has recipes, it has all about the diet, it has health, nutritional information. Very, very interesting read. And I think what I'm going to do is, when it's time to take this book back to the library, I think I'm going to buy a copy so that I can reference all the recipes and not have to hand copy them all, because there seems to be a lot of good ones in there. I've already hand copied 2 recipes just for condiments that I want to try. They have a recipe for homemade barbecue sauce, and then they have a recipe for homemade ketchup. And if you buy barbecue sauce or ketchup, it usually has like high fructose corn syrup or something nasty in it like that for sweeteners, and I can't have sweeteners. So I thought, oh, this is great. You know, I can make these things at home with all healthy ingredients. So I'm going to try those 2 recipes soon and see how they work out. So I think I'm going to leave it at that then. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. And I hope you have a great weekend, and I will most likely see you next week. Bye-bye.